Okay, my name is Kirk Abner, and I'm the author of Flower Dog Man. One of the things that I've experienced and what I've observed is we're really not taught how it is to be happy. I think again, our normal, for example, growing up, a lot of the sort of the influence, the recommendation is that we get a good job, we move to the right city, we meet the right person, we buy a nice house, we drive a nice car, we've joined the right political party or the right church. And the assumption is that doing those things, if we do those things right, then by default we should be happy. I've discovered that's not necessarily the case. I think happiness comes from a different place. It's not the result of achieving those sorts of things, and I go into some detail about that in the book. Well, again, a couple of principles that I go over in the book to start along that path of happiness, the genuine pursuit of happiness. First of all, you have to understand what it is you can truly control about yourself. For me, that was probably the biggest discovery, the biggest revelation I've had in my lifetime. I was really a poster child for not having any awareness of myself till I was well into my 40s. And sadly, that's why I was in a suicidal depression back then. But once I was able to figure out exactly what it is I could control, which is myself, well, then things really turned around. And a lot of those things that I can control, for example, is my self-image profile. I didn't realize that that was something that I could manage. So, for example, to say that I am single, I'm not dating anybody, that may be a fact for many people. But to say that no one loves me, that's a judgment, that's a belief, and there's no room in our self-image profile for those kind of beliefs or judgments. So there's a lot of judgment that takes place each and every day, and just about every moment. Either somebody is judging us or we're judging ourselves. And I just don't think there's room for that, particularly if you're trying to find happiness in this world. I've discovered basically there's two sort of MOs that we can live by in this world. One is, if you understand who you are as a human being, if you can see yourself as unconditional love, then that takes you on that journey. If you haven't found that yet, then sadly the default MO becomes one that's driven by ego. And ego is problematic because ego is never, ever satisfied. Plus, ego can erupt in a single moment. For example, ego, if we're driven by our ego, then we're basically never happy with the relationships we're in. We're never happy ultimately with the jobs that we have. We're never satisfied with the possessions we own. Life is always kind of the next day, the next thing we can achieve or purchase or get involved in. So you don't have that sort of unconditional love about yourself. Thanks to social media, we have an opportunity to peer into the hearts and minds of people like never before. And when I get on the Facebook and different things, I see a lot of people that are hurting. And I think they're hurting for the same reasons that I was some 20 years ago. A lot of times I think to your point, I think there might be a lot of arrogance perhaps. But mostly I see people using social media as a platform, again, to judge other people. In fact, I've made it a point not to participate in that kind of discussion because I really don't think it has any value, and I found mostly it just was kind of getting me agitated about things. It's just because we have it available, I don't think it means that it's necessary for us to post our opinion about, say, other people or political candidates or high-profile figures, etc. Because I just don't see that goes hand in hand if you really want to, if you're trying to get towards genuine peace in your life. It's available through Authors Press, Durant's Publishing, and also on Amazon.